talk about Bryce Young. So Bryce Young, he has he has had a little bit of a recent resurgence, to say the least. He returned into being a starter after Andy Dalton suffered a car accident that led, I believe, to a sprained thumb on the throwing thumb, something of that sort. Don't quote me on that. And it gave him an opportunity to return as the starter in the game against, I believe he returned the game against the Denver Broncos. And, that last game before, Andy Dalton did struggle. He won his Andy Dalton got a win early on. I believe it was his first appearance of the season against Raiders. But since then, he really struggled, especially in that Panthers game. I believe he only, in that Commanders game, he only threw for 93 yards and 2 interceptions. Then the accident happened, and it gave Bryce Young an opportunity to return as a starter. And since then, Bryce Young has played some really good football, I have to say. The Panthers are 2-3 in that time, which is not great, but it's not horrible. They were 2-3 in that time, and then 2 of their 3 losses were really competitive losses down the wire against 2 really good teams, in my opinion. Against Kansas City, it took Chiefs a walk-off field goal to get past Bryce Young in the Panthers den, and against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it literally went down to the wire in overtime. The Buccaneers won it on a walk-off field goal in overtime to get that one. And Bryce Young, he's played some really good football. What he was able to do in that Chiefs game, made some really good plays down the stretch, going up against a really good Chiefs defense. He was able to carve up 21 of 35, 263 yards, and a touchdown. You saw what he did against the Buccaneers as well. I was so impressed with the poise he had late in the game. Made some big plays late in the fourth quarter and in overtime. He made one really good play to Adam Thielen in overtime that it got them an opportunity to take a field goal to win the game, and then Chuba Hubbard fumbled. You can't blame Bryce Young for that. I thought Bryce Young did what he needed to do to lead the Panthers past the Buccaneers. He made the play to get them into field goal range. The Panthers hand the ball off to Chuba Hubbard to get a little bit more yards, and Hubbard, he fumbles the ball. Just the worst thing to do in that moment. A season-changing play, by the way, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. That was wow. That was a game, a season-changing play. For the Panthers, is not that big of a stakes. But Bryce Young, not only did he make the play in the game tying drive, no, in fact, he led a game-leading drive. A fourth quarter should have been a game-winning drive. He made an amazing play to Adam Thielen, stepping up in the pocket, showing poise, making that franchise quarterback play to give them the lead with about 50 seconds to go. He gave them the lead. They were up 3. They were down 4. They needed a touchdown to take the lead. And then Baker Mayfield goes back the other way, get the Buccaneers quickly into field goal range, and it goes into overtime. Bryce Young in that game, he led 2 game-winning drives that should have been 2 game-winning drives. 1 game-winning drive gave them a 3-point lead with about 40 seconds to go. The Panthers defense did not do their job and seal out the game. And then he made the play to get them in field goal range in overtime to kick a potential winning field goal. Chuba Herbert then on the next play or second play or something coughs it up. I think Bryce Young was well-deserving of winning of that game and the Kansas City Chiefs game. You look at his performance as well. He hasn't been turning it over. He's played clean football. He hasn't turned it over in the last he hasn't turned it over in the last 3 games. He's only thrown 1 interception in the last 4. His quarterback ratings has been solid as well. 86.4 against the Giants, 92.9 against the Chiefs, 83.4 against the Buccaneers. You compare that to his career average QBR of 73.8. There's an improvement. We're seeing an improvement. And, with these young guys, sometimes, they just need that opportunity to make their mistakes and to not give up on them. We see the Anthony Richardson, since he's returned from the benching as well, I think he's looked a lot more promising. Look, with Bryce Young, his early struggles has always been something that I could not wrap my head around, because when I watched him at college, I saw a player that physically didn't have the greatest physical strength, not the tallest quarterback, not the biggest arm, but the intangibles, the decision making, the accuracy was all there. Everything that you wanted from a franchise quarterback, from a tangible perspective, from a reading the defense perspective, from a pure accuracy perspective, I thought it was all there. Um, but it didn't translate. It didn't translate. I think the tangibles translated. I still see, I don't see any flaws with them in terms of the tangibles, but some accuracy issues, and a lot of it is being flustered. When you're flustered in the pocket and the confidence level is, you start getting tunnel vision, and you suddenly turn inaccurate and you start overthrowing guys that are wide open. His pocket presence was really, really poor. Since he's came back, his pocket presence has completely changed it. And maybe that's what it takes to see a veteran quarterback, an experienced quarterback, getting to see him um, for a few games, really take the field, and to really understand how a professional goes about it in the National Football League, a starting quarterback does it. I think it's done wonders for Bryce Young. And I'm coming back all the way to the trade where I never dismissed Bryce Young. I thought after that benching, he just needed to get the hell out of Carolina. It just wasn't the right situation for him. Wrong time, wrong place, and he deserves another opportunity somewhere else to battle it out. But what he's done, in my opinion, I think he's done enough to earn that second opportunity with Dave Canales to really run that offense next season. And I think the chance to watch Andy Dalton has done some wonders for him, has done some wonders for his confidence as well. I think he's learning off him. I think Andy Dalton is also a good pro that's, is giving him his tips and tricks to play at the highest level in the National Football League. Yeah, I have to say, I love everything about Bryce Young, and I've never been able to wrap around his performances earlier on, and sometimes it's just a bad situation. And I still think Carolina is a bad situation, but I think that benching, or not the benching itself, but the fact that he had an opportunity to sit on the sideline and learn from a guy like Andy Dalton, and to watch him play and to operate how he manages in the pocket, and I think that's been the biggest difference in Bryce Young's game. He's not getting flustered. He's not getting flushed out quickly. He's learning how to step up in the pocket when there's an opportunity to step up and buy yourself that little bit of more time. That led to the go-ahead touchdown down the stretch in that Buccaneers game to Adam Thielen. He's learning those little nuances in the game that changes. I think the confidence level is a lot higher as well. A combination of that, yeah, I'm really been impressed with Bryce Young of late, and I think he's earned that second life at Carolina.